Hi, good evening, subscribers and friends of Social Change Warriors. Welcome to another episode of our Wednesdays, our Angry Bees. This is our Angry Bitch Club, where we dedicate Wednesdays to women empowerment, issues that women care about. And normally that's what we focus on tonight. But we have a special episode tonight. And in this case, it is a woman. So it does suit our Angry Bees because we do have a lot to buzz about tonight regarding the horrific and tragic death of Ellen Greenberg. We were live with our background on Ellen and her tragedy, her family's tragedy, back in November before Thanksgiving, and we did just a very brief overview of the case. I have followed this case actually from 2011 when it first happened. I remember seeing it in the media, hearing about it. This was, social media was very new at this point, everyone. So, but I have followed her case and everything that's happened to it. So I'm very honored that her family has given me permission to live stream about Ellen's tragic, what I do believe, in my opinion, is a homicide. So quickly, before we bring up the guest, our guest speakers tonight, and we get into a background of Ellen and a little bit of the new updates that we have, let me just remind you that we are Social Change Warriors, and we are a nonprofit. We are a movement for communities. Our sole purpose is to talk to you about crime and corruption that's going on in your communities that we have either uncovered on our own or has been shared with us and are covering. And we also are standing for victims of murders who have never been solved, where they are not receiving justice, their families are not receiving justice. And we just, for the first time, having missing persons case since November, which if you're with us and you're used to following along on our channel, you know that that's Sarah Ebersol, who's been missing for 2 years. So we actually just activated a new, another domestic violence case today out of Massachusetts. So it's very, very horrible. So you're going to meet our domestic violence victim. We haven't decided yet if we're going to disclose her name yet for her protection, because the person that has been trying to harm her is still trying to harm her. So we're not sure what route we're going with that yet for her protection. So we are involved in 7 cases right now. We are advocating, we are researching, we are reading police reports, we are going over autopsy reports if the person has been deceased. In Sarah's case, we're going over just everything we can get our hands on to help her sister find Sarah. So that's what we're up to. If you have anything that's going on in your communities where you feel is suspect with your government or your police, or if you have an unsolved case in your family, please contact us. I'll stream the email at the bottom as we get further into the evening. So as I said, tonight, Wednesdays is our night where we talk about women empowerment and anything to do with women's issues. So we have a lot of different topics coming up. We have had a spa night, believe it or not, for women online. We have had an Men Are Dumb evening where we've talked about dating and how difficult it can be and how nasty some men can treat us. We appreciate there are good men in the world, but that particular episode that's happening once a month is not about the good men in the world. So it's airing on the second Wednesday of every month, and it's called Men Are Dumb. Thursday nights, we are continuing with our calling out corruption. Amber is off tonight. Her son has not been well this week. So all the prayers that you have been uplifting for her, keep doing that. Little buddy is still in the hospital with influenza A and some complications of that. So let's just keep on praying for him. She's been making Facebook posts, so I was able to talk about it. But let's keep praying for Amber and her husband and her son for a speedy recovery, and then we can get Amber back on the platform with us as well. So tomorrow night, we're going to have an update with Kara Veach about her husband, Jason, who was killed in a bar fight and has no justice. There are no charges pending. The case is closed. If they even do file charges, it's been rumored that the suspects will enact the Florida Stand Your Ground law. It's a very complicated case, and we have a live stream about it in our library. You're welcome to check that out, and we'll be meeting with Kara again tomorrow night for updates. I went to a meeting with her at the Volusia County Sheriff's Department last week, so we're going to update you on that, and we'll meet with Michelle again. We have updates on Michelle's case as well. After many lives with Michelle, the missing flyer has now been updated in the Marion County Sheriff's Department, but has not been shared publicly yet. So we're going to talk about the ins and outs of that tomorrow, and also any new information that Michelle would like to share. And then we'll be meeting our newest our newest, I don't want to call her a victim because she is a survivor right now. So we are going to be meeting our newest victim of domestic violence, but also a survivor of domestic violence also tomorrow night. So I hope you'll join us on Calling Out Corruption at 8 o'clock Eastern. So I just would like you to quickly read our disclaimer. We're working on an intro, so we'll have this in our intro in the future, but if you could just quickly take a look at that, make sure you understand about fair use and why we are allowed to use certain videos and content. And then please remember that everything we talk about tonight is my opinion or my guest's opinion. It has not been proven in a court of law. Anything we say has to do with evidence we've researched and photos, autopsies, police reports we've looked over. And it is at this point our opinion only. So that's what I've got for right now. So let me bring up, oh, and by the way, the photo that you were looking at in the background, that is the city of Philadelphia, which is where we'll be talking a lot about that this evening. I am in 44-degree Volusia County near Daytona Beach, and it's been a high of 44 today. So it's incredibly cold, and I'm sure you've all been watching the weather and seen all the snow going on in the south. It's really been quite the topic today. So let me bring up Deidre. And let me bring up Annette, who you've met both these ladies before, but
hey,
I'm good. Hi, good. Welcome. Thanks for being here.
I just want to say, quit your complaining because it's 33 degrees here and we had over 3 inches of snow in South Carolina.
Is that a record for South Carolina? 3 inches?
I don't know what the record is, but we've been here for 10 years and we had a slight dusting. This is like ridiculous.
Wow. Well, I've been seeing what's going on in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. We're talking 10 inches, 12 inches. I mean, the beach in Destin, Florida, where a good friend of mine got married, I told her to go look it up because it's covered. The beach is covered in snow. It's really pretty epic, isn't it? So
ours
is
covered in snow too.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell the audience a little bit tell our friends and our new friends a little bit about yourself.
First of all, I want to say hi, Amber. Thank you. I hope your son is doing so well. I've been praying for him nonstop. I am a retired nurse. I started true crime back with Stephen Avery's case in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, and I was working with some amazing researchers and creators. I watched Karen Reed's case as a juror with Emily D. Baker. I did not have any background with it. And once that started going on, then I started digging into true crime again. I had taken a hiatus from it. And then I met you through Sean McDonough. And I'm now back doing research and digging and kind of excited to try to get some answers for people that other people are pushing by the wayside.
Thank you, Annette. Your experience as a nurse and all of your true crime experience is so helpful to me and to Amber and to our victims and their families for our cause for Social Change Warriors and our mission. Thank you so much for being part of Social Change Warriors. I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.
And new to our team, she's been a little behind the scenes, but she has been on a few lives, is Deidre. I'm going to have her introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Deirdre Sargent, and I'm a former military police officer and civilian 911 police fire ambulance dispatcher, and a true crime junkie since O.J. Simpson trial and what are those brothers?
Menendez
brothers.
Yeah, that was quite something, wasn't it? Yeah.
So,
well, we're all close to the same age, the three of us, right? So those O.J. Simpson and that trial, those were the biggest trials of the time back in the 80s. Was that the 80s or the 90s? When did we watch all those?
90s.
The 90s.
Yeah. 90s, definitely.
Oh, that's right. The 90s. Right. Seems so long ago now, but yes. And Deirdre, thank you. Your expertise is just so valuable to everything that we're doing for the families. Going over the police reports with a fine-tooth comb, going over the autopsies, trying to find anything that was missed. When you have an unsolved case, the more eyes on it, the better. And I'm not saying, I won't come right out and say that the police in any of these cases we're working on haven't done their job, but I don't know that all the jobs have been done as thoroughly as they should have been done. And in some of these cases, there's actual just malpractice. if you can give malpractice to a cop, then let's give it. And I think we've already done that in Canton and Stoughton, Massachusetts, haven't we, ladies? Because that's how we all met, was following the Karen Reed case. That's how I met Amber as well. I have the banner on the bottom for Justice for John O'Keefe, My Life Mattered. I put up kind of a new one that no one else has out there right now, because there's Free Karen Reed, there's Justice for John O'Keefe. So I combined them and I said Free Karen Reed for JOK justice, because really, when you have the wrong person arrested and the wrong person on trial, that is not justice for the victim who has been either killed accidentally or premeditated, which we don't assume in this case it was premeditated, but we don't know. We don't know. They're willing to say that Karen premeditated. I can be willing to say that maybe some nefarious characters premeditated. That could be an opinion as well. So until the proof comes out and we get more information, that case is still, in my opinion, unsolved, and they have the wrong person arrested. So that was how all of us ladies met, was following that case. So let's jump into our wonderful, just a tragic end to her beautiful life. We're so sorry to the Greenberg family. I have been in contact with Ellen's mother via email. So as I said earlier, I'm so honored that she is allowing us to do a live stream about Ellen's case, or not, for lack thereof, not a murder case right now. It's a closed case. So we're treating it as if it's an unsolved case here at Social Change Warriors, because we believe, after all the research we've done, we don't believe that Ellen unalived herself. And I think you will tend to agree with us when you help us go through the evidence and her autopsy report and all of the other nefarious activity that has come out since 2011, which is just a travesty that it's taking this long for justice for her family. So these are her parents. They have fought tirelessly for Ellen. They have spent, and this is in the media, close to $700,000 with 2 different lawsuits to try to get this case reversed from an unaliving to a homicide. And they have plenty of proof and plenty of people with a lot more degrees than I have, and I have a few, to tell us that this was not an unaliving, that this was indeed a homicide. So my heart breaks for both of you. Your lives were upended on January 26th of 2011, and you are still fighting for justice for your dear only child, your dear Ellen. And we are going to help you do that the best that we can from our different spaces in the world where we all live. So let's all say an extra special prayer for Ellen's family, for everything they've been through and are still going through. So on the morning of, I'm going to just switch just to side view. On the morning of January 26th of 2011, Sandy Greenberg spoke with her daughter for the last time. She told us that she said, "I love you." Ellen said, "I love you," on the phone. She was only 27 on this day that she passed away. And her mother said, "I love you more, 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 more," which is probably something they always said to each other. Just breaks my heart, because my mom and I have our own little things that we say to each other. And I'm sure you all have cute, fun things that you do with your kids and your parents, and maybe your sisters and brothers too. So this was something I found out today and added it to our case files, and it literally made me cry. So I cried a lot today, because I'm just so incredibly sorry and sad for these wonderful people, and for Ellen. So Ellen was a school teacher, and from all accounts, she was an amazing school teacher and would have probably been an amazing mother had she lived to have children, which was her desire. Her mother said that she was looking so forward to being a grandmother someday. And what a great mother Ellen would have made, because she was great with all of her children and was just a fantastic school teacher. So on this day, on January 26th, 2011, there was a blizzard coming in to Philadelphia. So Ellen's school let out early. So something we didn't know the last time we met, but because I've had new contacts and found out new information, Ellen actually stopped at a gas station to tap off her fuel tank. Now, ladies, does that sound like somebody who is about to end their life in just a few? I'm sorry, you guys, I'm having struggles with my little guy today, where I want to bring you guys up without, I know you don't like being huge.
Oh, no, we're good. We're
I don't
good.
like being huge, but I don't know where my extra icon is. I always lose.
Absolutely not. You're not going to, if you're planning on unaliving yourself, you're not going to tap off your gas tank. Why?
And
because,
a full tank. She got a full tank of gas. It was
you're not going to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're trying to lead us to believe, this is some new information that we've obtained since last time we lived in November, that Ellen was under the care of a psychologist, a therapist.
Can I just raise my hand because if you were going to unalive yourself and you're topping your tank off, you're going to get a hose and it's going to go from your exhaust system into your car. And that's how a lot of women do, either sleeping pills or carbon monoxide.
That's how my girlfriend did.
That's what they do. So if you were going to unalive yourself, you're going to top it off and get a hose, and that's what you would have done. You wouldn't just top your car off if you were going to stab yourself.
Yep. You wouldn't, because if that was her plan, if she was planning to do this on that day, she wasn't going to delay and fill up her car with gas so that it would be okay, because they were supposed to go into sub. So that's just one red flag. So there's many, but that's just the first one for me. I want to quickly say hi to all of our regulars. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting our victims and our victim families. We have, well, of course, Deidre's on screen. We have Julie back with us, Shauna, Kathy Coppins. Of course, Deidre's on screen with us, and Annette. Amber is in the chat box tonight, and we're so grateful your son is doing better. We have, let's see, Sherry D. Welcome back, Sherry D. And I recognize a new name, Maria Claude. I think, is it Claude or Claude? And I don't know how to pronounce your last name, but it sounds beautiful when it's pronounced correctly. Thank you.
I'm guessing Palacio.
I was afraid to take a stab at it, but thank you for coming and welcome. We're so happy to have you. If you need any more information or you need to contact me, I'll put my email on the flying ticker there underneath in a little while. So thank you for being with us tonight. And I'm just double checking. There's Julie. Make sure if we have any new people.
I'm Italian too, girl. She might be Greek though. I'm taking a guess at Italian.
Yeah. So, okay, I think I got everybody that's been with us recently and that comes to a lot of our live shows. So thank you so much to everyone for being here with us live tonight. Your comments and your questions really help us as we move through this topic. So one thing I wanted to add to is when you guys brought up ways that women unalive themselves is different from men. So it's something that we can talk more about next time, because tonight we're pretty full, but I do want to add that women, it's a very, very low percentage. And typically if a woman does use a knife, and one thing I want to remind you guys, we have to be careful tonight because YouTube will take us down if we have to use unaliving, and we have to be very careful with our words tonight. Now, they took down one of my Ellens because they said I was using inappropriate YouTube. Well, the only thing I could think of is that I said the S word instead of unaliving. And then I also said, we talked about murder. I don't know if we can even use that word. I have to get with YouTube's rule book, because we're covering victims of homicide. So if I can't say that,
you might want to say homicide instead of murder.
Yeah. Let's stick with homicide tonight if we can. I mean, if we slip up a couple times and they try to strike this video tonight later on, I will appeal it. Trust me. So, because we are covering very difficult major crimes, and there are certain words that are in the dictionary that we do use that we have to use to explain what we're talking about. So just wanted to let you know that if you notice me catching myself before I say things, that's why. I'm trying to be cautious of what we can and cannot do tonight on our stream.
So Sherry is a mod on several channels, and according to her, you cannot say the M word.
Okay. Thank you, Sherry.
But you can say red drum.
Can I say homicide, Sherry?
You could say it backwards. You could say red drum.
Okay.
Let's do this. Let's just use unaliving or let's just use unaliving, because whether it's been done, I did it to myself or someone else did it to me, I'm still unalived. So let's just be safe. We'll go with unaliving, but something's got to be done about these YouTube rules, because these are words that are in the dictionary. They're words that police use. They're words that medical examiners use. If this is the content that we cover, we need to be able to say these words. So anyway, let's just thank you.
But here's my question: is if all of these live courtroom things can have those words going through, why can't people that are commentating on it?
I don't know that. I've only been live streaming since August, so I need to dive into the rules of YouTube live streaming. That's what I need to do, and I will do that because it's important that we know what we should and shouldn't say. We know we're not supposed to swear, but that happens sometimes. So they haven't struck us yet. They haven't struck us yet for swearing, thankfully. I think they can only, if you're monetized, they can take your money if you swear, unless you edit out the swear words before you go replay, something like that. So, yeah, Julie, craziest person on earth. Ridiculous how they censor, like people will fall over if they hear a swear word or, God forbid, learn a fact about something. Yeah, absolutely. That's how I feel too. It's just crazy to me. So Baker always says red rum, says Amber. He's got the lingo down like it's a fifth language for him. Well, maybe we'll have to start watching Baker more. He was a guest on our show. He was a guest on our show a long time ago, but unfortunately he became friendly with someone that we're no longer friendly with because of accusations of things that didn't happen. So we haven't
moving
really
right along
heard from you. So moving right along. Anyway, so let's thanks for the tip. Sherry D, appreciate that a lot. Anybody else ever have tips for me? Please let me know, because this is new to us since August. Live streaming, pre-recording was easier, honest to God, because I could edit out things I didn't think were going to work or not appropriate. Live streaming can't do that. So
Deidre, right, I hope you have some wine in there.
It's a chai latte.
So we're going to this is our format tonight, gang. We're going to show a few slides, let you see some photos, and then come back and have the ladies discuss it with me and with you. So any discussion you want to have with us, comments, we're happy to put it up for you. So this is the apartment building that Sam and Ellen were living in. Ellen had moved in first. It was her apartment. And then I believe when they got engaged or near there, Sam moved in with Ellen, and he was her fiance. So she passed away in this apartment building on January 26th in her kitchen while a major nor'easter had shut down most of the city and was just raging outside. It was basically a major blizzard. This is Sam Goldberg and Ellen in their happy time. He and Ellen met through I believe it was the mother of a mutual friend, and thought that because they both were of the Jewish faith and Sam lived in Philadelphia, even though he worked for the Gulf Network. So he was traveling a lot. He was constantly on the road with the Gulf Network. So he really wasn't home a lot. And it sounds like they didn't really have a first date for many, many months because he was constantly traveling and always on the road, and then FaceTiming a lot. And then finally had a first date. He flew her to South Carolina where he was working for the Gulf Network. And I guess they were inseparable ever since, which that was in approximately, I believe, 2008. So here's the backstory. Sam was 28 at the time, TV producer for the Gulf Network, as I said, traveled a lot, and he happened to be home during this blizzard. He left Ellen in their apartment and went to the basement where the gym's located. So their apartment has an in-house gym. That was at approximately 4:45. So according to what the police say, is that she was still alive at 4:45 because they don't believe she was unalived by someone else. They believe that she unalived herself. I don't believe that. So I believe she was, and I'll get you, Deidre. I believe she was already gone by 4:45 because he is seen on surveillance cameras going down to the gym. So I believe she was already passed by then, and he was just working up his alibi. Go ahead, Deidre.
Her last text was, I believe, at 3:45.
Okay. And what was that? Do you recall?
I don't know if I knew the substance. I'm just recalling the time. It was an hour before he supposedly left.
Interesting. Maria. Hey, welcome. Maria says, I have done extensive research. Is it Marie or Maria? My middle name is Marie, so I'm sorry if I called you Maria. It looks like it's Marie. I have done extensive research on the case. One thing no one has ever discussed is how Sam got home that day. Apparently, he did not have a car. Very nice. Wow. That's very interesting. I did not know that. I assumed that he was just off, from the Golf Network and was home because of the blizzard that was coming in. I did not know that, Maria, but thank you. So that's something we could definitely try to look into. Where did you find that out? I'm just curious.
On that website that you gave me about the time thing.
Yes.
In there, they said that he came home early.
Okay. Early from whatever office he has to go to, because he travels for the Golf Network. So who knows where his actual office is, right?
And I believe he came home after she did. She was home first.
Okay, so she got there first and then he came home. They must have been whatever they were doing or chatting, and then he claims he went to the gym. There, I'm putting that back up. Well, thank you, Marie. I really appreciate this, that you're here today. Yes, there's a lot of podcasts. I've actually put links up at the end of this Google Doc for all the different podcasts. So there's been a lot of coverage of Ellen's case. So these are all people that cover a lot of different cases. So anyway, so I'll just go back to this little background.
Kat,
yeah.
Can you tell Marie if she wants to reach out to you, where she can find you?
Yes, I'll put our email on. I'll put our email up right now. Come to think of it, hang on a second, everybody. Let me banner the email. I'll take the free Karen Reed down and
if you're willing to come on, Marie, Kat is more than willing to have you come on and share what you've researched.
Oh, for sure. If you want us to send you, if you want to come on the platform tonight, we can send you the link to get into the green room. And if you want to come on next week when we do the update, because as I'll get to this in a little bit, the judge is about to.
And you don't have to show your face.
No, right. You can just be on with voice only. The judge is about to make a decision on the case that was presented to him by her parents and their attorneys in December or late November. I'm trying to remember when they did that, but that decision is supposed to be happening prior to the 31st. So we should be hearing any time now what the decision is, if it's going to be ruled a homicide and the case reopened. And we're just standing by to live on that as soon as we get that information. So let me put up the email. I'll do that in a little bit. I want to keep going here. I thought I had a banner.
She's not sure though. I don't know if she's saying sure that she would come on tonight.
Okay. Then what I need to know is let me see if I don't want her to give away. Let me put up my email right now. If you can email me your email, I will send you the green room link.
Amber, put up your email. Is it the ACT?
That would be helpful. No, I'll just put up. Oh, she did put it up already?
Amber put it up.
Well, thanks, Amber. Okay, let me go click on it. If you can, is it up? How far up? Oh, there it is. Thank you, Amber. So I will, yes, acttmsw@gmail.com. And then if you email me, I'll go on my phone and I'll send you the green room link if you want to join us and tell us what you have found out via your research. So while you're doing that, I'm just going to quickly finish the background here.
Sorry to interrupt. I didn't mean to be rude.
Oh, no, never. You guys are never, we always have a little bit of you every time we all meet together. There's always a little bit of you that enters the space, and that's fine. So based on the crime scene photos, Ellen was in the kitchen, what they believe was preparing some type of a fruit salad. There was like an orange cut up. There was some grapes in a colander that she must have rinsed out. So she was in the middle of that when either she abruptly decided to take the knife and do what happened to her.
I'm sorry I'm laughing, but that is like ridiculous.
It's pretty absurd. 20 times. So she was stabbed 20 times in the back and in the front, including the top of her head. And then there lays the knife that she was using for the fruit salad and all the fruit. So that's what we garnered from the crime scene photos. So approximately at 5:15, Sam decides to come back to the apartment, and he can't get in because the lock, those special little locks that kind of go, how they have those at the hotels, they have those extra locks that you put on over your door. Well, he says that was on the door and he couldn't get in. So he tells police that he tried to call her, text her, email her, because this is 2011. So we were all still using emails, and that she wouldn't answer. So he goes back downstairs to the lobby area and speaks to Mr. Hanton, who is in charge of the lobby. He was somewhat of a doorman / security guard. And asks him if he can help him break in. Well, according to the police report, Goldberg says that Hanton accompanied him to the apartment, but Hanton denies that. He says that he did not accompany him and that the security camera shows him at his desk, not anywhere near the Greenberg's apartment. This is a security camera of Sam apparently all by himself, either heading to the elevator or heading to the stairs. I'm not exactly sure what location this is. I'd have to do some more research, but this is definitely him in his workout clothes, heading away by himself. There's no Mr. Hanton with him. So
Kat,
yeah,
she said she did send you an email, so if you want to look at that.
Okay, thanks. So what I'm going to do is tell you guys about this 3-way conference call and
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's one of those hotel locks.
Yes.
How many of us women, if your fiance was going down to the gym, would put that on instead of just having the door locked? You wouldn't block him from coming back in.
No.
Not unless you were afraid of him.
Right.
Because I do believe
Sorry.
that was the case.
I just wanted to. My ADHD goes off. So if I don't say something when I'm thinking it,
it's okay. I totally understand. You guys get into this emotionally, just like the chat does. So I like to try to put up everybody's comments because it is an emotional topic and we all want justice for Ellen. So we don't worry. Don't say you're sorry. I'm going to just tell you guys about this 3-way call. I did not know about this the last time we live streamed. I found out about this in the last 3 days. I'm going to tell you about this and then I'm going to get Maria to come on stage with us. So 3-way call. So this is what happens. So Sam goes upstairs, tells the police, can't get in the apartment, goes back down, talks to Mr. Hanton. He says, I can't break the door down. That's against policy. If you break it down, you're going to get charged. Sam says Mr. Hanton went with him and watched him break the door down. Mr. Hanton says, no, I didn't do that. Then we find out from phone records that Sam made a call first to his cousin. So first he called his cousin, then he conferenced in his cousin's dad, which is actually the judge. His uncle was a judge. And so now he's on a 3-way call in the lobby of his apartment with his cousin. And I know I didn't spell this right. I had trouble finding the cousin's name. So I'm going to have to work on that and update it. So the cousin's on the phone at 6:14. So now an hour has gone by since he supposedly found out that the apartment is locked and he can't get in. No call to 911 prior to this. He's been trying to reach his fiance for an hour. And she's obviously not coming to the door. There's obviously something wrong. Why did you wait an hour, Sam? And why are you on a conference call with your uncle, who's a judge, and your cousin at 6:14? And then he takes the phone with him back upstairs where he said the security officer was with him and breaks the door in while he's on the conference call with the cousin and the uncle. Okay, I'm going to let you two talk about that while
what's Sam's last name?
Goldberg.
And is it Samuel?
That I'm not sure. I would be guessing.
And what city is it?
Philadelphia.
All right, give me a second. Go ahead, Deidre.
Well, a couple of things. There's no actual site witnesses that he broke the door down, that swing arm lock was on. It's basically just his word that that's the case. I think he was buying time because she had been dead for a while. So he needed to give time. If they had gone in right away, the evidence wouldn't match the timeline because she wouldn't be as obviously unalive at that point. So he needed to stretch that time out.
Correct.
Do you want me to go into when he goes in the apartment?
Yes.
Okay, so on the 911 call, he said, I just walked in my apartment and she's on the floor. I don't think if I supposedly had a panic attack and broke in a door and found my fiance unalive on the floor, I would say I just walked in my apartment. Like he just strolled in and la-di-da, oh, she's dead and unalive. And then he also said that there was nobody else there. How did he know that? How did he know that while he was gone, his fiance, Ellen, didn't answer the door to somebody and they came in and unalived her. He never checked the apartment.
Right.
But when you're the one who did it, you know the answer to that. So that's why he gave the answer that he did.
Right. It's very hard to cover up like that on the fly when you've taken someone's life. Your adrenaline, what's going on in your own mind. And he obviously wasn't a professional unaliver, so he did not have experience in this theater. So yeah, I agree with you.
There's little towels. He also said that she was flat on the floor, and the dispatcher was trying to get him to give her CPR, and he said, "I have to, right?" Like that was his response to her telling him to do CPR. Well, I have to, right? And then later on, he said the knife was still inside of her, and he almost giggled when the dispatcher asked if the knife was still inside her. You have to listen to it. His response is very odd.
I'm going to try to play it for y'all. I just sent Marie an email. So Marie, let me know. I forwarded the one that I had sent to all of you. So the link will be down below a little bit. Let us know that you got it. I just sent it about a minute ago now. Because I'm hoping I can play the 911 call. We played it, and then when we tried to come back to it for some reason.
Do we have the photos of the door?
Yes, we have all that coming up. I just wanted to play the 911 first. We have all that coming up. So
we have proof that latch thing was on and it ripped off the door frame.
Well, we have proof that there's damage. We don't know when it was done. And the damage is done to the wrong side. Mm-hmm. So if you watch, Gavin Fish does
I love
experiment. And the force is actually on the other half of that security thing. So that's a little odd. The damage that there is odd. And then he also shows that even if you have that damage, you still can't get the door open. It would have had to have been ripped out all the way to be able to get through the door. So there's that. But also her positioning. So he said she was flat on the floor, but when paramedics got there, she was in a sitting up position in the corner of the cabinets where they came in to be. How did she get that way, especially if he had been supposedly doing CPR? And then you also look at the blood patterns on the floor. She had several wounds to her back. There's only one blood pool. There isn't like different blood pools where the different injuries were.
Right.
So that's really strange too. A lot of the blood is straight down drip. But if she was laying on her back, you would have seen a puddle. You would have seen more puddles from the different stab wounds in the back.
What's really interesting is that I read in some of our reports that we have attached to this is that she was sitting, leaning up against the cabinet, right?
And the blood shows that. The blood shows the swipe marks from the back of her head. There's like 3 different swipe marks on the cabinet. So the blood evidence doesn't match what he said, and the testimony of the fire department personnel doesn't match.
Guys, hang on 2 seconds. Marie, that's not the right link. That's the link to the Google slide deck. Above that, there should be a blue looking link that's from YouTube, because I had 2 links in that email. One was to the Google slide deck for the ladies, but if you go up above that, you'll see a blue link that looks like it's from YouTube. That's the one you need to click on in order to come into the room. Sorry about that. I should have sent you your own link, but Amber just actually put it in that's the link. Look, well, it's let me go back to the email and I'll tell you exactly.
So
yeah, that's it. It's the
stream. There's no blood spatter or anything up above. It's all. So they're claiming she sat down and stabbed herself.
No, they're claiming she was standing originally, and then at one point, because she started to lose consciousness, fell and ended up landing, sitting up, leaning against the counter like that, like hit the floor, landed. This is sounding a lot like the John O'Keefe case where they said he was hit in the elbow at it with a 24-mile-an-hour car and then pirouetted across the lawn. I mean, this is what happens when corruption's involved, people. It doesn't make sense to us folks, the commoners. And two of us are ex-cops in this room and an ex-nurse. So we're not exactly commoners in this field because we've seen a lot of injuries in all of the three of our combined jobs. So they really do think we are all idiots when they try to get away with crime and corruption right in front of our faces. That's what's going on in this case, in my opinion, with Ellen Greenberg's death.
With her injuries, and Annette, you could probably have an opinion on this as well. She had an injury to C2, C3, and it went into the spinal cord.
She's paralyzed.
From that, yeah, exactly. She
Right.
also had probably close to half her blood volume in her chest. So one had to come before the other. She couldn't have stabbed herself in the neck and then stabbed herself in the front because all that blood, she would have been paralyzed.
And you're gonna have a pneumothorax. You're not gonna be able to breathe.
Yep. And she did have injury to her lung as well.
You're not going to be able to do anything after that.
There you are. We see you.
Hi, Marie. It's nice to meet you.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Glad you made it. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Just getting settled in. Don't mind.
No worries. Take your time.
Marie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. Hi, everybody.
Or how you got on the case?
So I've been following this case for I don't know how many years now. And I'm just really taken by it. And so I think I've read every possible document out there. And I'm just really interested in, keeping up to date, maybe digging even further with other people that are just as obsessed as I am with everything. So, that's how I came to you.
That's great. How did you find us?
Yeah.
It was on X.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Glad you saw it.
What piqued your interest about it, though? What made you want to dig?
It could have been me. Like I just relate to Ellen so much. It could have been any of us.
Yes.
She led I like quote unquote a normal life. Had a normal boyfriend, or so we thought. Had a good job. Had a solid social circle. And it's just it could have been any of us. So
Absolutely. And that's the thing, guys. One now when I first started working in the field domestic violence in 2015, was it? 1 in 4 women end up victims of domestic violence. That's just, I know statistics can be boring, but not when we're talking about things like this, because we have to know what we're dealing with. We have to know what the incident of something is before we can try to tackle it and realize what a hard road we might have, right? Well, now they've put out new literature that they believe it's 1 in 3. So 1 in 3 women will at some point in their life experience some form of domestic violence, whether that be hitting, punching, or verbal, or ends up to be murder. But 1 in 3, that's pretty terrifying. And I saw a podcast not that long ago when I first started covering all the victims that we have right now of domestic violence with social change warriors who don't have any conclusion or any justice to what happened to them. Is this gentleman was interviewing someone, and he said to this was supposedly a rehabilitated abuser. And he said to them, who do you think is the most dangerous person in the life of a woman? And he just kind of sat there and he was kind of dumbfounded. He's like, well, like a stranger if they're taking a walk. And he said, no, it was you. You were the most dangerous person in your wife's life. And
I just want to
worry.
Just from my personal experience, I'll share a little bit here. I made the mistake of marrying my ex-husband twice. The first time I left him is when he stood in front of me with my 4 kids standing behind me and said, I should just go get the shotgun right now and shoot you. My daughter is now in her 20s and still remembers that. Still remembers that.
Well, that's
And then
trauma.
he
That's trauma.
supposedly got counseling and was reformed and was sweet as pie the whole time, because I did not jump back into a relationship with him. I got my nursing degree. I was living my own life. I was with my kids. I did not sleep with him again until after we got remarried. And then it started all over.
Yeah. He wasn't rehabilitated. And, we're going to talk about this at some point down the road. I'm not sure when, but there was an amazing doctor. Her name was Dr. Ellen Pence, and she was from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And in the 80s, she did a lot of research on rehabilitation, and she taught a lot of classes at the different social work universities, schools that have the major of social work and the master degree of social work. And she taught a lot about what's the incident of rehabilitation. Can men who abuse their wives or spouses or girlfriends or fiancés be rehabilitated? And she just spent her whole life working actually with the perpetrators, because she believed that it was an anger management issue. And she came up with the wheel of violence, the wheel of abuse. It's really fascinating. It's anybody that's been a victim of domestic violence or that knows someone that is should really come to our live when we talk about this, because there's a lot that people do not know. What's really hard to fathom is that in the 70s and 80s, domestic violence was swept under the carpet, people. Police didn't even take those calls. They were considered family problems. And women were being beaten in their own homes in front of their own children, black and blue, going to the hospital. I've met with women in domestic violence shelters that were in the hospital more than 20 times for broken bones, contusions, bruising, infections from the cuts. It's things you never want to see, that you can't unsee. So I have a special care and concern for any woman that's been abused.
I did call the police that night. And we lived in a small town. And because he went to school with that officer, guess what? They never showed up.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really sad. And this is exactly what has happened with the case of our missing person, Sarah Ebersol. We are in agreement with her sister that this was possibly domestic violence because she'd already been dealing with it and it wasn't being addressed properly in the courts. And we're meeting a new survivor of domestic violence tomorrow night. Same thing's happening. This person keeps getting out of jail and comes back and has had stalking charges now against her, has violated restraining order after restraining order after restraining order. And so we have a real problem. And Deidre, I liked what you said today earlier, that sometimes women that are in these communities where there is no support for survivors of domestic violence, they need to move possibly. And that's easier said than done because that takes money. And what if they have family in that community? But if you are living in a community where there is no support for you from law enforcement or from the courts, you really have to try to find a safer haven for you. And if you have children, your children.
It's easier to find a new babysitter than it is to get a recalcitrant police department to do their job.
It's just sad. It's sad. Okay, ladies, I'm going to take us back. Thank you for all of your insight and your very intelligent comments. I'm just going to take us back now to Ellen and what we're dealing with. So there's this three-way call that went on. I just learned of this. I find this incredibly suspect. And I'll fix the spelling. Thank you, Marie, for correcting me. The spelling of his cousin's name is Kamian. So I'll fix that tonight, later, or tomorrow. But it's 6:14. We're talking an hour in now. And he's on a three-way call because he can't get into his apartment and he's freaking out, right? But he's not freaking out enough to call 911 right away and say, hey, I think there's something wrong with my fiance. I left to go to the gym and she was making a fruit salad and she won't answer the door. The lock is on and I can't get in. I need help. And of course, fire rescue is going to come and they're going to get you in that apartment. Why did a whole hour go by, right? People, why? This is really concerning. So let's listen to the 911 call. I really want to get all of your opinion. Those of you that are live with us, love to have your opinion. Definitely want to have Marie and Annette's and Deirdre. So let me go and pull this up and hopefully this will work because I'm still new at all this tech. Let me know that you can hear it.
You got it, girl. Come on.
Listen for I have to, right? And listen for his almost giggle
Thank you.
about
All
the
right.
knife still being inside.
Okay, here it goes, ladies. I'm gonna, yeah, here we go. Let's give it a go. Okay, hang on. I have to actually physically, let me pause it. I got to add it. It's a commercial. So I have to add it to the stage. Thought I already had it on the stage, but I guess I don't. Share screen. There we go.
Kat, I do have to tell you there's a clothing issue with her too that I came across.
Oh,
Like-
okay.
Like John O'Keefe.
Keep that in mind, please. Okay, now I'm sharing it. We're going to have to suffer through a loud commercial, guys. Sorry.
Kat, send those to me next time and I'll edit those out for you.
Oh,
Help! I need a everything out. I just walked to my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
What is the address?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
4601
Flat Rock Road.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no! Oh no!
Apartment.
It's an apartment. Please hurry,
Where
please.
is she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
No, so you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie!
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't see
Ellie!
where it's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, I think. But it's everywhere.
Okay,
It's everywhere.
think she might have fallen. Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone. What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched. My fiance's inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. She's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay, do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I can tell you what to do, okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat
Oh,
on her.
God.
Hello?
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone until they get there?
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off. Okay? Kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God. Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir, because you
Okay, I'm trying not. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
She fell with a knife. Oh, no. Her knife's sticking out.
Her what?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
She stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay, so I just let her down. Here now. I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which operator? 277.
Is someone coming here?
Yes, they are. You said 4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Was it her chest or what area?
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there. Okay, just get.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Okay,
how old is she?
She's 27.
27, and there's no sign of life at all.
No, please don't be. What?
Been turned to her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
Ellie. She's not. Her hands are still warm. I don't know what that means, but there's blood everywhere. I mean.
I know, but you can't, and the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
It looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks it's a long knife.
Don't touch it. Yeah, don't touch it.
How do you know it's a long knife?
I can't believe this, though.
Exactly.
Wait, is just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door. You said latched it shut.
No. I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched.
Oh.
Like it was, it wasn't like it was like locked from the inside. And I'm yelling, You know, so I'm
Well, was your house
yelling and
broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Okay, 4601.
Okay.
CTs fit like a glove.
The clothing, the clothing issue that I noticed is part of what just went on. So the coroner said that she was wearing, let me see. Oh, shoot. Oh, she was wearing a gray and purple hooded sweatshirt, gray sweatpants, and brown boots.
He
Where's
said
her-
zipped.
Huh?
Didn't he say zipped?
I don't know. I
He
think
did. Yeah, he said it was a zip.
zipped.
But
Yeah.
my question is, where's her bra, her underwear, and her socks? You're in the middle of a nor'easter and you're going to wear boots with no socks. You're going to wear clothes with no underwear, maybe not a bra, but no underpants. And
He said
here's
it
the
was a
thing.
zip up.
Here's the thing. He didn't see the knife. So the knife was 12 centimeters. This is 12 centimeters. Knives are balanced with the handle and the blade. The knife was in about 3 inches. This much would have been sticking out. Why was it under her shirt? She stabbed herself under her shirt.
And
He
he said
didn't
he
see
thought
the knife. She even drew attention to her chest, said, look at her chest. Is it rising or falling? And he didn't see the knife until he went to take her shirt off and it wasn't coming off. And that's when he saw the knife. Why was it under her shirt?
Actually, it wasn't under her shirt. This
It
is
was
the key.
through it.
It wasn't
My-
under her shirt.
and
And
he-
most,
and-
hang on a second, Annette. Most,
Okay.
I read this today. Most people that do unalive themselves this way, they lift up their clothing. And they know that they need to get rid of the clothing because the clothing is a barrier. So you're not going to get the damage you need done if you're going through clothing. Especially it was cold. It was a nor'easter. She's wearing probably this zip up thing and maybe another shirt underneath. So if she was going to unalive herself, the statistics show, the research shows that she would have lifted up her shirt. So that's another red flag, right? Sorry, Annette, go ahead.
My first thing was he went in strong and hard on the 911 call. And she said, calm down. He's like, oh, okay. And then he totally calms down. And then he says, I think she hit her head. I think she hit her head.
Yeah.
And then he's like, I did hear what Deidre said. Well, I guess I have to. You guess you have to do CPR?
Yeah.
The call is about 4 minutes long, and
Mhm.
he mentions the knife about 2 minutes in. After telling the 911 lady, at least she told him 3 times, look at her face. And he confirms it 3 times. And so how can you see the face, but not that 3-inch handle sticking out of her chest, going through both shirts that she had? And also, at one point he says, I'm looking at her face or something like this. Her face is a little purple.
A little
Now,
purple.
how can you not see the knife? I mean,
Yeah.
I understand the whole thing. People react differently under trauma, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, not 2 minutes in. There's no way.
Here's
Yeah.
the big red sign to me. I think she hit her head.
Yeah,
He knew she had a wound in the back of her head.
exactly. The gash.
Right.
And she was not, even if she was sitting against the cupboard doors or laying down. There's
He
no
wouldn't
way
have
to know
seen
that.
It was at the
Nope.
back.
Nope.
Right. Absolutely right. And here's the other kicker. The EMS people that came in their original report did not write down the gash on the back of her head, nor did they write down the 10 stab wounds to her back.
Right.
The
I
ME,
didn't notice that till the ME.
when
Did
the
he have
ME
blood on his hands?
No one knows.
Oh no, he would. Well, it's hard to say. I don't know that was.
No
I
one
didn't read
knows.
that anywhere. Did you read that
No,
anywhere?
I'm
No.
I'm asking because if he was going to try CPR, he would have blood on his hands.
Well, he did never attempt CPR because then once he saw the knife, then she told him, well, don't do CPR because there's a knife in her chest. So that's not going to work. Did you guys
Okay,
catch? I
but-
put this up here where I
So
wrote.
he didn't even touch her.
I don't think he touched her at all.
No.
And also,
That's
he knew the
bullshit.
length of the blade.
That's bullshit.
He says
Yeah.
3. It's about 3. Like, he knows how long this is.
Yes.
How can you know which knife it is? Like, there's no way.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys catch when he sounded almost disgusted? I put that up here. He goes, hi, or he goes, huh, like that. Okay. Because that's when she's telling him something. But he actually kind of, the next word he says, he's got like a disgust in his voice. Like, oh, shit, I got to keep doing this, or I got to keep talking to you. I mean, you can just hear it. Like, if we play it again, you will hear that it almost like he is disgusted that he has to deal with these questions from the dispatcher.
And have
It's
you guys
really
noticed
telling.
how he fake stutters at the very beginning
Mm-hmm.
and never stutters again?
Oh my God. Oh my God. And he calls her name. And then all of a
Someone
sudden
who
he's
stutters
really
will
calm.
stutter the whole time, not just at the very beginning.
Right.
And he knew that there was nobody else there because he never checked the apartment.
He sounded so confident. He was the only one there.
He had every reason to think otherwise.
Absolutely.
You come in and she's unalive on the floor. The door had been locked. Like,
yeah.
how do you know? How do you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he never said, oh my God, I think somebody broke in and killed my girlfriend.
Right.
Nope.
Right. Never once did he even begin to think that
Nope.
somebody broke in and hurt her. It was never even a second of, a flicker, because he was too busy covering for himself. Right. Yeah. By giving his alibi. So yeah, thanks everybody who's live with us for all of your comments that you've been putting up in the chat. Thank you so much. That's a good catch, Deirdre.
Oh, he did touch her. Sherry
I
said
think
that
he
did
dressed
touch
her.
Okay,
Sherry
I'll get to
said
that in a
he
second.
touched her hands.
I'll get to that in a second. Let me read Julie's first, because I tried to put them up so I can read them. That's a good catch, Deirdre. So she got mad at fruit and began stabbing herself without clothes on, cut her spine, kept stabbing and stabbed herself in the heart. Yeah, we know that didn't happen.
Yeah, fruit salad does that to all of us.
Yeah,
exactly. Oh, can you play it again? I absolutely can, Sherry. Yes, we can play it again. It's a lot, it's a lot to absorb. And then Sherry wrote that he did touch her. He mentioned her hands. Oh, yes, that's right. That's right.
Hands are so warm.
Yep, that's right. So he did definitely do that.
Well, that was when she directed him to see if she responded to pain. So he touched her then.
Yeah. So something to remember too is while this dispatch call is going on, his phone is live with his cousin and his uncle. So the uncle and the cousin are hearing all of this. They're on a three-way.
That's something else that's not jiving up with the timing of the 911 call and the time he's in front of the elevator, going up to the 6th floor and walking to apartment 603. The timing, it doesn't work. It doesn't align.
Wait a minute. How is he on the phone both with 911 and his family?
Right, but he says that he was on the phone with Kamian and his uncle when he supposedly busted or the door open.
Right.
And then they told him to call 911, and then he supposedly called 911. If you look at the timing, he's in the lobby less than a minute before calling 911, meaning it's impossible for him to have been on the phone with his uncle when he supposedly busted in the door.
So but the call records show that he was on a three-way call, though. They have call records that he called his uncle and his cousin.
But not when he busted the door open. That's the lie.
But the other thing he said is that
good one, Maria.
The other thing he said is he had been trying to get in and couldn't, and finally broke it in.
Right.
There's not enough time for all of that to have happened with the phone call to his cousin and his uncle. There's not enough time for that.
Exactly. And he said he did it with his shoulder. Now, That would
I would
mean
use my
putting
foot.
the phone on the floor because you wouldn't be able to talk and do. I mean, I don't think it's possible.
I think we're up to like 4 or 5 lies already. I think we should keep a Lyle meter on him, right? We should make a graphic that shows all of Sam's lies. Again, if you're watching Sam, this is our opinion. I do find it interesting that YouTubers did some more shows on Ellen in the last like 3 months. It's been a little bit heavy. And then we lived about her in a little bit in August, September, October, November, now today. So I find it interesting. It makes me really think that he has somebody either in his family or he is keeping track of YouTube and seeing these shows. And we'll get to this towards the end because something happened in December that was unprecedented for the case with him. And we'll talk about that when we get to the end. Okay, let me go back to that. Let me go back to adding that and we'll listen to it one more time because it's definitely huge. And I forgot which one of you now mentioned it. I put your comment up a little while ago and you said,
Sherry.
Was it Sherry that said how everybody's seen this? Everybody's heard this 911 call.
Oh,
Yep.
it may not have been her.
I don't remember, but somebody mentioned that. I said, yeah, the police heard the 911 call. The detective had to have heard the 911 call. How in the world a seasoned detective in a city as big as Philadelphia doesn't have cause to be concerned with everything, with this entire everything to do with her autopsy, the circumstances, the fact she was making a fruit salad, and they quickly jumped to, oh well, we found evidence that she was seeing a psychiatrist, and we found evidence on her computer that she looked up suicide. Well, guess what? Guess who had her computer for 2 days? And that's coming. I'm just giving you a little preview. Jimmy the judge had her computer for 2 days. So if they expect us to be that stupid to believe that they didn't plant that on her computer so that it would look like she was trying to figure out how to unlive herself, then boy, they just think we all, have no brains, never went to school. It's utterly insane. So we'll get to that in a minute. So let me go back and I'll add this back into the screen. See if I can get to it now again. Now
I'm going to bow my head because I'm listening.
All right. I got to figure out how to get back to it because it's not letting me. Hang on. I'm going to have to refresh the screen. Let's see if I can do that.
Well, while you're doing that, I'll just mention that the autopsy mentioned that she had contusions in her upper and lower extremities in various stages of resolution, meaning that she had injuries inflicted to her in different spaces of time that were in different stages of healing. So she had been being abused for a while.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that when we show the autopsy. That is absolutely true, Deidre, and just that's what hurts my heart more than anything. And I'm positive they overlooked it in the worst possible way. How do you overlook that? So okay, here we go. We'll listen one more time, see if we pick up anything else.
Help! I need a emergency now. I just walked to my apartment. My fiance's on the floor with blood everywhere.
Oops, where did it go? Can you guys still hear it?
Nope.
No.
That's odd.
Everywhere.
What is
Can you hear it now?
4601 Flat Rock Road. Please come help now.
Can you hear it now?
Flat Rock Road.
Is this a house or apartment?
Oh no! Oh no! It's an apartment.
Are you guys hearing that at all?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I wasn't sure.
Please hurry, please.
Where is she bleeding from?
I don't know. I can't tell.
No, so you have to calm yourself down in order to get you some help.
I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm looking at her right now. I can't see anything. There's nothing broken. She's bleeding. Ellie.
You don't know where she's bleeding from? Can't tell where
Ellie.
the blood's coming from?
I think her head. I think she hit her head, but it's everywhere.
Okay, so
It's everywhere.
think she might have fallen? Do you know what happened?
She may have slipped. There's blood on the table. Her face is a little purple.
Okay, hold on for rescue for her. Stay on the phone. What's wrong?
I went downstairs to go work out. I came back up. The door was latched.
Blood
My
on the
fiance's
table.
inside. She wasn't answering. So after about a half hour, I decided to break it down. I see her now just on the floor with blood. Like she's not responding.
Okay, is she breathing? Look at her chest. I need you to calm down, and I need you to look at her chest. It's really.
I don't think she. I really don't think she is.
Listen to me. Someone's on the way. Look at her chest. Is she flat on her back?
She's on her back. So I bring her.
Look at her chest and tell me if it's going up and down, up and down.
I don't see her moving.
Okay. Do you know how to do CPR?
I don't.
Okay, I can tell you what to do. Okay, until they get there. I want you to keep her flat on her.
God.
Hello.
Yeah, hi, okay.
Are you willing to do CPR with me over the phone so they get
I have to, right?
Okay, so get her flat on her back, bare her chest, okay? You want to rip her shirt off, okay? Kneel down by her side.
Oh, my God.
Okay, I just want to say a couple quick things. So she says, is she breathing? Look at her chest. So now he's supposed to be looking at her chest where the knife is. Nothing. He doesn't say anything. Then she says, okay, we're going to have to try CPR. And he goes, oh, God. And then he goes, and then she says something like, are you there? And he goes, oh, hi. And then he says, okay. And that's where he sounds very disgusted. So all this time, which is a good 30 seconds worth, he's supposed to be looking at her chest, but he has yet to say one word about the knife.
Here's the one thing I caught. He said there's blood on the table.
Yeah. But I haven't seen any
He
crime
said
scene
there's
photo.
blood on the table. Said nothing.
She was
about
in the
the
corner.
cabinet.
She was in the corner of the cabinet.
Yeah.
He said there's blood on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which wouldn't have been anywhere near where her body was because she was in that corner.
No.
That was loud and clear.
Yep.
Good catch, Annette. Can you write that down?
I will.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to go ahead.
Ellie, please.
Listen, you can't freak out, sir.
Okay, I'm trying not to. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Oh, my God. She stabbed herself.
Where?
Her shirt won't
She
come
fell
off.
with a knife. Oh, no. Her knife's sticking out.
Her what?
There's a knife sticking out of her heart.
Oh, she stabbed herself?
I guess so. I don't know where she fell on it. I don't know.
Okay, well, don't touch it.
Okay,
She
so
fell
I
on
just
it.
let her
Fell
down.
on it,
I mean, what do I do?
No, I mean, you can't. If the knife is in her chest, it's going to be kind of hard for you to do CPR at this time.
Oh, no. Oh, my goodness. Okay.
Police, which
Oh my
operator?
goodness.
277.
Is someone coming here?
Yes, they are. You said 4601 Flat Rock, right?
Yes.
Okay, someone's on the way. And the knife is still inside?
Wait, so what?
The knife is still inside of her?
Yes, I didn't take it out.
Was it her chest or what area?
It's in her chest. It looks like it's right in her heart.
Okay, someone's on the way out there. Okay, just get.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Okay,
How old is
thank you.
she?
She's 27.
27. And there's no sign of life at all? Like,
No,
bend her to her arm.
no, please don't be. What?
Bend her to her arm and tell me if she responds to pain.
Ellie. She's not. Her arm and her hands are still warm. I don't know if that means, but there's blood everywhere. I mean.
I know, but you can't. And the knife is still inside of her. How far? Can you see how far it went in?
It looks pretty deep.
Okay.
It looks straight. I mean, it's a long knife.
Don't touch anything. Yeah, don't touch anything. Okay.
I'm not touching anything. I can't believe this though.
So wait, it was just you there with her?
We're the only ones here.
And she ran in the door. You said latched it shut.
No. I went downstairs to work out, and when I came back up, the door was latched.
Oh.
Like it was, it wasn't like it was, it was like locked from the inside, and I'm yelling. So I'm
Was your
yelling
house
and
broken into?
No.
So there's no sign of a break-in?
No sign of a break-in at all. I mean, there will be when you get here because I had to break the latch, but to get in.
Okay, 4601.
Okay, here's my first
C20s
question.
fit like a glove. Easy connection to my phone. I travel often, so having a rechargeable case is key. The sound quality on this is incredible. I'm able to live my life.
Guys, I was stretching my knee, so I had to step away for a second.
So here's my first question. Number one, he said it was a zipper. We heard that again. He said her hands were warm, so he did touch her. He said, I came to the door and it was latched. I was yelling. So if he tried to open the door, it'll go so far. And if he could have seen straight into the kitchen and seen her.
It was the opposite direction, though.
It
like
was
the door
opposite.
opens towards the opposite direction than the cupboards.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
Go ahead, Marie. Tell us what you know.
The way that the door, the side of the door that opens is not the side where the cupboards are. So
is that where the table would have been visible?
Correct.
Let me show you something. So the knife blade was 12 centimeters. That's 12 centimeters.
Yeah.
This is 3 inches.
But for him to say it's a long
see how-
knife,
He knew. He knew.
He knew which knife.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Kathy says, I just want to read a few of the chat for a second, because I really like, I've been putting them up so that replay can see, because you guys have had some really good catches. And thanks, Sherry D, for asking us to play it again, because you hear new things. So Sherry D says, Sam did touch her. He mentioned her hands were warm. Sherry D says, most 911 calls start recording immediately, which did we hear him say anything before dispatch picked up? I didn't catch anything. I don't know if the rest of you did. Let's see here. Amber. Oh, good thoughts, Sherry D. And then Shauna says, what a crock. I was 26 with my 1-year-old son in my arms when I found my grandmother on the floor from a heart attack. I was going for regular visits and I was screaming at 911, get the F here. And your panic ensues. And it's very rare to get a calm 911 call. It's very rare. She says, I carried on such a panic. My baby went to the bathroom and she doesn't believe a word he's saying. Thank you, Shauna. And Kat and Shauna, thanks again for having emails with me. Nobody emails anymore in this world. And Shauna and I are pen pals now. We've been emailing each other and it's been great. Listen to his panting as he talks. He sounds so fake, very practiced. Yes, Kathy, see, absolutely. I agree with you 100%. I thought the minute I heard this 911 call the very first time, back in whenever that was, when Amber and I first started pulling up all the info on this case, I thought that there is no way that's so fake and so rehearsed. Shauna says, did the uncle, the judge, ever reference the call? Isn't it interesting how the Aruba case with the Dutch guy and that's Natalie Holloway's case that you're referring to, Shauna. His dad was a judge, and very interesting how there's connections with a lot of these men that are getting away with unaliving. Amber says that the Philly police are known to have corruption. Unbelievable, right? It's just constant. One city after another, we're finding out. We've already got Canton, we've got Stoughton, we've got pretty much the whole state of Massachusetts. We've got Indiana with Ed Byers. I'm dealing with it here in Florida. It's everywhere, guys.
But why would you naturally assume that she did it? Did she fall on the knife? Did she fall on the knife?
Oh, right.
Why would you naturally assume?
Right.
That's
and
insane.
if she fell on the knife, she'd be on her stomach.
He offered 2 explanations that
she hit her head. Yep.
That did not involve somebody else doing it, because he knew somebody else didn't do it. He had every reason to believe that somebody came into that apartment while he was gone and did this to her, but that was never a scenario that he mentioned, because he already knew the answer.
Because he knew there were video cameras that had surveillance of somebody coming in, somebody going out. So he had to make it look, or try to make it look like a suicide.
Right.
Very good job. Good job with everybody that's live with us in the chat area tonight. We really, really appreciate you. And then Amber says, there's nothing broken. How the heck would you know that? Right. And I said that too, Amber. I think you and I have talked about this before. That was one of the key things that stood out to Amber and I when we first heard the 911, just the two of us, was you can't visibly see unless it's a compound fracture like some of the sports athletes get, like Joe Montana when he broke his leg, or that one famous pro basketball player that broke his leg on the court. You can't tell if someone has a broken bone. I broke my leg. You couldn't see it was broken. It started swelling later, but when I actually broke it, you couldn't see my leg was broken. Come on. So that was weird to me. That, and Amber and I, we discussed this when we first heard this.
I have to, on the side of being a nurse, I have to disagree with you, because I have had my daughter break her wrist,
Uh-huh.
and it was tilted to the side.
Well,
when
sure.
she broke
Oh
her
no,
wrist.
I appreciate that, Annette, and I'm not saying that you can't tell, but the fact that he is not a nurse,
Agreed.
he's just a guy
Agreed.
who's in a panic,
Absolutely.
right? And how is he going to tell if she has any broken bones? That was weird.
I thought he
right?
was referring to things in the apartment not being broken. That's interesting.
No,
I
he
took
said
it that way too. I kind of
Huh.
took it that way too,
no,
because
I
then
did not.
that explains that she did it to herself, because
Okay.
otherwise it would have been a battle. There would have been evidence of a battle. So if
Right.
anything was disturbed, he probably fixed that beforehand.
Well, the knife block was on the side. That, that looked odd.
Right.
Her glass.
She could have been reaching for that during the attack.
All right, can I ask a question here while we're doing this about the wounds?
Yeah. Well, hang on a minute, because we're going to show those pictures. Can you keep your question for 2 seconds? Because I would prefer to have it up. These are just some links that I have up. I don't know if we'll have time tonight to get to just different things that I found. One thing I do want to quickly show you, though, is I do want to show you this. Let me remove the 911 call. I want to bring this up real quick. So keep that question. If you have to write it down, Annette, I agree that you should, because I want to hear it. But let me get this. Let me share my screen. I do want to show this because this group of people I came across accidentally. They're called Crime Timeline, and they actually they are specialists at this component of it, which I am not. So I have tried to reach out to them because I wanted to email them and see if they wanted to come on with us and tell us about their website. They actually have timelines for all of our cases right now. And it's really been helpful to me to go over my research and my Google slide decks. I've already made Google case decks on all of our current victims, family and the families, but it was nice for me to see this after the fact to kind of make sure I wasn't missing anything. And this is very detailed. They have a nice description here, which we've already all talked about, but they get a little bit more into her background, that she went to Penn State, which is nice. And then they do this timeline, which is really fantastic. And it's very detailed. I did find a couple errors, and I emailed her family because they may have a way to get a hold of them that I don't have. But I found a couple errors in Sarah's timeline as well, and let Michelle know. And Michelle actually found some errors. I mean, there's bound to be, because there's so much case information. But I just wanted to show this to you guys because this is really something to see what they have been able to. I know you can't see it very, very good. Let me see if I can. Let me try something really quick here.
You can post the link in the description, and they can look at it.
I will. I have it as big as it will go. Let me try to put it up on the whole screen. Yeah, it's not going to be, you guys won't be able to read it, but it's literally the timeline of everything that has to do with her case. So it goes from January 12, 2011. And I'm just going to read a little bit of this to you because this is a little background. Ellen is seen by a psychiatrist, Dr. Ellen Berman. Notes from a visit. She doesn't feel like she has a lot of control over her life. She feels very anxious. She's not sleeping well. She's having some problems with some of the parents at school. So on January 17th, she's seen by psychiatrist Dr. Ellen Berman. This is notes from a visit. This was all put into evidence. She wants to quit her job, but mom and fiance don't want her to. She just wants to give a 2-week notice and move up with her parents for a while, but she's not. And it's very clear. It says not unaliving in her thoughts whatsoever. Then on January 19th, she sees a psychiatrist again. Dr. Ellen Berman notes, feeling better, 70% better. She agrees that she will stay teaching until June. She feels her medication is actually helping and feels like things are coming around. So then January 22nd, she sends out save the date cards for the wedding, as they will be getting married August 13th, 2011 at the Hotel Hershey in Hershey, Pennsylvania. That day, she was also helping a close friend with an upcoming wedding. That Saturday, they went dress shopping for bridesmaids' dresses. While looking for bridesmaids' dresses, Ellen broke down crying and told her friend, "I'm really sorry. I know I haven't been myself lately, but I'll get it together." So the medication she was on, and I can speak to this not as a nurse. So I know you're going to be able to help me out with that a little bit here, Annette, is she was taking something that I had actually been prescribed for anxiety, because after my police injury to my neck and my surgery, I was in a lot of pain, and the pain was causing me to have what they call pain anxiety attacks. It's when you're in pain all the time, your body can't handle it and your central nervous system gets really disrupted. So you can have an anxiety attack just anytime, even when you don't feel particularly anxious or there's not anything going on that's that upsetting, you can have an anxiety attack. So I was on this medication that she was prescribed. And yes, it says that there is a small percentage chance that you can have unaliving ideations, right? A lot of the medicine that people take, there's Zoloft for depression and anxiety. There's so many different ones out there. There's Prozac, there's, you name it. We could name them. They all have a possibility based on your chemistry and your body chemistry of causing that, but it is very rare. And she was just seen by the psychiatrist just days before, and it was clearly in the notes that in her opinion, Ellen was not thinking of unaliving, that there were no thoughts of this. So this is what the police used, along with what they claim was on her laptop, that she had Googled painless. I mean, it's so obvious to me, guys, as an ex-cop, and Deidre's an ex-cop. It's so obvious to me. That's why they took her laptop. That's why the judge went in before the apartment was considered done with the crime scene. They had her laptop for 2 days, painless unaliving, but then
you choose the painful one.
But then she chose the painful one. So even if let's just say she was thinking of unaliving herself, let's just say on the outside chance that the medication, which I took for 12 years and never caused me a single thought of harming myself, all of a sudden in the middle of a fruit salad, after she filled her car up with gas, she's going to have an unaliving episode to the degree of stabbing herself with the knife 20 times. I don't buy it. There's no way. I'm on an anxiety med now because I live with this chronic neck injury. I've been on this new med since April. I haven't once felt that way. And it's a very rare condition that you can end up with if this medicine doesn't work. And usually there are signs and they take you off the medicine. So she's seeing a psychologist because she wasn't happy. I'll tell you why she wasn't happy. She wasn't happy because she was getting the shit kicked out of her constantly. And that's why she has bruises. And that's why we're going to look at those in a minute, and it's going to make you cry. And I'm going to have to do a trigger alert because it's not good to know that this sweet, wonderful girl, the only child of her parents, was being beat up by this complete jerk of a human being who has been out there living his life, happy-go-lucky Sam, since 2011. And this is when I get upset and mad because they failed her.
So how long was she on this medication?
I'm thinking, I'd have to go back, and I saw the notes where she had a text message with her mom and said, I'm going to start the medication today. I just don't know for sure. I don't want to say it wrong. Not long. So,
okay.
Yeah, not real long, but a while, a couple months maybe at the most.
Okay. Typically, if you're going to have the side effects from the medication, you're going to have it early on. I was on an anti-anxiety medication that made me feel like I had a burnt tongue all the time. Yeah. You're going to get the reaction early on. It's not going to develop over months. That doesn't happen. You're going to get the reaction, and then they're going to tell you, oh, this isn't for you.
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Aja. Sorry, Annette. Thank you, Aja, for joining us tonight. I just saw you in the chat for the first time. Appreciate your comments. Yes, we all believe that Sam is full of crap. Absolutely. Great comment, and it's so true. So thank you. Okay, Annette, sorry about that. I just wanted to acknowledge that we have a new friend in our midst. So welcome to you. Anything
that is not something that generally happens over time. It's not after a medication, typically a psychotropic or an anti-anxiety, it builds up over time. But if
Right.
you're going to get the side effects, you're going to get them pretty quickly.
Yeah.
They're not going to develop the side effects over time. If it doesn't work for you or you're going to get a side effect, you're going to get that pretty immediately.
Right. And
It's
so
not
she
going to
would have
wait
told the
6
psychiatrist.
weeks. Yeah.
Right. And that she would have told the psychiatrist that she was
Yes.
feeling these
Yes.
feelings or feeling odd, because apparently she was being very forthcoming with this person and had gone to see her 3 times in 2 weeks. So I have a question from Sherry D. Did Sam almost say 3 inches in? Did anybody else hear that slip?
That's why I was showing you the blade and the correlation between 3 inches and the blade, because it was almost to the hilt. It was like an inch from the hilt.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew what that knife looked like. That's why he could say 3. Otherwise, how would he know?
Right. Exactly. Julie says, agree. Deirdre, less reason to assume a break. Oh yeah, that was talking about, see, I thought he was talking about her, that she didn't have any broken bones, but I see what you guys are saying now, that he was covering again, that there wasn't any disruption in the apartment, which would lead them to think that someone broke in. So I see that now. Question from Sherry D. Balcony outside access to apartment. No, I don't believe so. If they did have a balcony, it didn't have, I think they were up pretty high.
We'd have to look back at the pictures that you showed earlier of the apartment building.
I'll have
he didn't check the apartment, so he wouldn't.
No, he didn't.
Sherry D had a question about him saying, is someone coming? That's not an unusual question. And in fact, what is unusual and what was a pet peeve of mine, because I was also a trainer, is when someone's calling 911, they're saying over and over and over again, get somebody here, why are you asking me these questions? Get somebody here.
Are you coming? Are they coming? Where are they? Or how far out are they? And things like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He did say it once, but it's unusual that it's not like they're immediately asking for it. And I would always train my dispatchers to say, I've got the call into the dispatcher. I'm staying on the line with you to give more information as they are arriving. They're on the way.
Sherry
and you
D,
have to repeat that over and over again.
Sherry D just nailed it on the head. Oh my God, she stabbed herself.
Mm-hmm. And I put that up, Annette, because her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Then OMG, she stabbed herself. Wouldn't it be more like OMG, she stabbed herself? Right? He's sitting there telling us that her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. He's already seen the knife and he's not verbalizing it. That's not normal. That's not trauma. That's not normal.
In some part of it, though, he says, oh my gosh, instead of oh my God or a profanity. I'm like,
oh yeah, that's right.
That was way
No, he said, oh my goodness. He said,
oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Yep. I caught that too. But this one really stood out to me. Her shirt won't come off. It's a zipper. Now he says, oh my God, she stabbed herself. No, it would have never gone down like that.
I never would have thought my person stabbed themselves.
You juxtapose somebody who unalives themselves by hanging. You come across that scene, it would be normal for you to think that they did it to themselves. Could somebody else have done that? Yes. Mm-hmm. But that's a scenario when you walk in, and it would be normal to think that they did it to themselves. When you walk into a scene and somebody has been stabbed, never is the first assumption that they did it to themselves. Like that, there would have to have been something else that would have caused them to think that, but not just coming upon the scene like that. That he answered his own question because he already knew what the answer was.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let me put our deck back up here. Let's see here. So my game plan is that when you guys are feeling like, I mean, we've been on an hour and a half. So when you guys are feeling like we need to break, we're going to come back and finish the rest of our the rest of what we want to talk about when we hear the judge is supposed to come in no later than the 31st. So we will definitely do a live next week, and I'll kind of let you know what we have left to cover so that you guys can tell me if you want to push through and finish it in a half an hour, or if you want to finish it when we talk about the judge's decision. I'll leave that up to you guys.
DB is making a good suggestion. When you're going to post autopsy photos or autopsy things, make an alert, say, this is a trigger alert. If you can't handle it, please pause, come back, because we don't want anybody to be traumatized.
Let's do the answers.
I appreciate that was that DB? Yes, yep. I appreciate you, DB. I do have a trigger alert on this, but thank you. I'm very cautious and careful with triggering people. And if you want to come back when we're done talking about the autopsy photos, then please do it. We won't stay on it very long. I will put it up and I will take it down. It'll be quick. So let's go with, let's see, add to the stage. Here we go.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, I'll tell you when it's going to. So the first thing that's up is just, I wanted to show you, this was what this is what the kitchen looked like. So let me get rid of us. So there we go. So this is the kitchen. So this is the area over here in the corner was where she was making their fruit salad. The door to the apartment is like if this is north, if this microwave is north, the door is south and over a little bit towards the east. So this little hallway here kind of led to the front door of the apartment. It wasn't a very big apartment, so he would have walked in, but she was over here. He would not have seen her. So we might want to, when we come back together next week, we might want to re-listen to the 911 because he would not have seen her. She was up against the cupboard over here. The door's over here. He could not have seen her till he got all the way up to here. And that's why I think that's where the biggest screw up is, that they did not catch that. We'll listen to it again next week. If any of you remember, he yelled out really quick, right? He would have had to have sprinted from the front door to get to right here where he would have seen her, because she was over here against the cupboard, either right here or over here. He would not have seen her. She was propped up against the cupboard. He wouldn't have seen her. She wasn't tall like that. I mean, maybe if she was 6'5", he might have seen her head peeking up here over this, but this is at least, what would you say, 3 feet? Maybe 4 feet high.
Bar
right?
stools are at least 28 inches high.
Right. I'm thinking this is like 4 feet from ground to top, 3 minimum. So he would not have seen her head. There's no way. I don't think, anyway. That's just my opinion. But so this was the kitchen. And then this is the door here. This was this latch. There's, I mean, this is a tough photo and I tried to zoom in, but it made it blurry. I'm going to try to find a better photo for next week. But there was literally virtually barely any damage to this door.
I think you just need to crop it and enlarge it.
Yeah, I tried to, but it looked a little blurry, but I'll do that next week. But that was, for now, I just wanted you to get a feel for how you're not seeing any cracked, like there's just nothing broken around the door. The door isn't even broken.
It is, but Deidre is right. The damage is on the wrong side. It should have been on the side of the latch, not on the side of the hook itself.
Right. And when I show you Gavin, if we get a chance to see Gavin's, I'm not sure exactly what episode that's in, so we may do that next week. But Gavin did a test, and he literally ruined his own office door, and he put one of these latches on his own office door, and he pretended to do exactly what Sam described that he did, and the entire frame of his door broke off. He used his shoulder. So I thought that was very interesting. So here's our trigger alert. So I'm going to give you a minute if you want to look away and you just want to listen, or if you just want to pause us for a minute and come back. This will maybe take 5 minutes. We're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because it is so disturbing and it makes me so incredibly sick and sad. So there is the trigger alert for all of you that need to step away for 5 minutes. So first, as we know, this was a computer-generated image showing where all 20 stab wounds, with the exception of this is her head wound here, that was quite severe. I've never heard anybody say if they feel that was made with the knife. And I found it interesting that they're not showing a knife up here. So I'm not
I already have issues.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at the top autopsy picture,
let me see if I can find it.
That is a clean cut.
Yeah. The knife is faced all in the same direction. Okay. When you look at the back of that autopsy picture, the knife is facing the same direction as the ones in the front. That's not going to happen if you're using the same hand.
Right. She was right-handed.
So they're showing the knives going in the front in one direction. And they're showing the ones in the back going in the same direction.
They're going in the same direction as somebody facing you and stabbing you, not you stabbing yourself.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All her wounds went left to right. So, well, when I go back in camera, I can show you, but you can't stab yourself.
Nope.
Left to right. And then one of them, stab wound L, I think it was, to the back, was also at an upward angle. So how do you reach around the back of your head, left to right and up? It just can't be done.
Mm-hmm.
It's impossible.
So I don't have a picture up right now for all of you that had to look away. I just wanted to read this to you. On January 27th, 2011 at 9 a.m., Dr. Marlon Osborne conducted an autopsy on Ellen Greenberg. During his examination, he observed multiple stab wounds to her chest, abdomen, and the back of her neck. These injuries affected critical areas, including her aortic arch, left lung, and cervical spine. Dr. Osborne noted that a 12.5, 4.9-inch blade was embedded in her chest wound, penetrating to a depth of 3.94 inches or 10 centimeters. Additionally, he observed multiple bruises on her body at various stages of healing, suggesting they were sustained at different times. That, my friends, is classic domestic violence abuse of a woman. Varying stages of bruise healing.
Totally agree. But I also want to know how much pressure it would take to put that knife in her heart, how much strength and how much pressure it would take.
Mm-hmm.
So they know that was the last injury.
Well, it had to be because the knife was in her chest.
So how did she do that after she already?
With the severed spine.
Yes.
It would have been impossible. She would have already been bleeding so much from all the other wounds, and especially
no. If the spine was severed at that level, her arm would not have moved.
Right. Correct. Yes.
Or even if it wasn't severed and damaged. I mean, I've got stenosis and I can't operate my arms, but if it's cut, even if it's not completely severed, you're still not going to be able to use your arms properly to then have that be the last injury.
Right.
So, and likewise, even the injuries to the back. So that would have had to be the last one in the back, but the ones in the front.
Chime in too, because
the ones in the front.
I wanted to say real quick, Lulu Bell, thank you very much for coming tonight and for all your support. I really appreciate you, and thank you. Love you too, girl. And thank you for watching us on the replay and for supporting Ellen and her family. Thank you so much. Sorry, Deidre, go ahead.
The ones in the front, she had lost so much blood that where's the strength to even be able to go back, let alone the fact that you just cannot get that angle. My neck is fused, but even still, you can't do that.
Yeah. And not just the force itself, but the clearance that you need considering the blade. You need to go even further back in order to have enough stabbing motion. Her arm probably isn't even long enough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we need to know how deep were each of those wounds in the back.
There's one in the cervical area. I believe it was 3 inches, the one that hit the brain.
Look at how this goes. You try and get to the back, it goes to the left. As you're stabbing yourself, the blade is actually going to the left when you're right-handed.
Mm-hmm.
And
It doesn't go
Yeah.
left to right. It goes right to left when you're
And
stabbing yourself.
she was found with a white towel in her left hand without any blood on it. So according to their version, she would have essentially needed to do all this with one hand. It was a
No.
pristine white towel in her left
Yeah.
hand.
Yeah.
And then
Trigger
again,
warning, guys, I'm going to go forward. So just a trigger warning, if you did come back and are just hanging with us again, I'm going to move into another photo. So I'll give you a second. These are tough to take. So this is a massive head wound. I don't believe, in my opinion, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but the ME is a doctor. The ME has a, PhD probably, as well as their doctor school years, 4 years of medical school, everything else, that this wound in and of itself would have rendered her probably unconscious and could have never put a knife that far into her own chest. So how in the world these police officers were pushing for an unaliving? And I just met, guys, just so you understand this, it is not the police job necessarily to convince a prosecutor to file charges. Karen and I just met with the Volusia County Sheriffs, and she's going to speak to this tomorrow night. They reiterated to us that they compile the evidence. They go over the evidence, they bag the evidence, they write reports, they interview witnesses, they interview suspects, they write reports, then they turn all that over to the DA. It is not the police's job to convince the DA to file charges. That's up to the DA based on the police reports, based on the evidence, based on everything that goes on in a police investigation. So for what I've been reading, Annette, is that the police were heavily involved in trying to convince the medical examiner to overturn the original ruling of a homicide to an unaliving. That should never happen.
No. I wanted how deep was this one? Because I haven't read this autopsy report. How deep was this wound?
Let me see.
It's all the way to the dura.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna say, just being a nurse, this isn't a unaliving wound. This is an FU wound.
And it's not, I hit my head on the counter because the line
it would have gone across.
Clean all the way through, the way through.
It would have gone, but it wouldn't have gone up and down. It would have gone across.
And the edges, when you hit your head against something and you can get a linear wound, the edges of the skin fold inward from the force.
Yep, I've had one.
So I have a question for you guys. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I was first responder, and I've seen wounds, but I've never seen anything quite like that. How did whoever unalived her with the knife, because now we know, based on everything we've already learned, that there's no way she did this to herself. How did they manage that type of a wound? What was it, like a fast slash? Or
it looks like it because there's a line inside the wound. You can see the trail mark of the tip of the knife.
Hang on a second, Annette. Let me let Deidre finish. Go ahead, Deidre.
If you look down inside the wound, you can see the trail mark of a knife. It wasn't this, it was a slash.
So it was a slash. Okay, that's what I thought. And Annette, from your nursing perspective, yes, you agree?
I'm saying the same thing as Deidre. Okay. It was like this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
It was a drag.
Yeah, that's what so it's under. They have really, other than the final blow to the chest, we have no way to know what order those 20 wounds occurred in. But I'm wondering if the back of the head was the first one.
That's what I'm thinking.
I believe so.
Or
I thought it was. I think it was the CP, the spinal cord.
That's what I was thinking, because that would drop her.
Go ahead, Marie.
Well, I'm thinking, I agree with, Tom Brennan's blitz attack theory from the back. I think it probably started in the back and then finished in the front, but that's just my interpretation of how it went. I think she was pinned down at some point because of
the reason why I agree with that. Right. And I agree with that too, because simply she's as the victim of this attack, she's not going to turn her back to him at that point. So there's no way anyone's going to do that, right? Unless she's trying to run. So then she would have been away from the sink. If she was still able to run and try to get away from him, she would have been moving away out of the kitchen where she ended up falling. But this is something that I don't have on a slide tonight because I still haven't read about this, but you may know about this, Marie. I have heard that the medical examiner the family hired thinks that her body was moved.
Yes, because of the way that the blood was moving. When they found her, she was, propped up a little bit against the cupboards. And so meaning that if she would have been bleeding, the blood should have been going this way. Now, when they found her, apparently, I have not seen pictures of this, but apparently it goes this way.
So there's another lie to add to the Sam lie-o-meter. He said she was laying flat on her back. Not true.
Well, maybe at one time she was.
But who propped her up, right? He did.
And he never mentions propping her up in the story ever.
No.
He dressed her.
The first responders say she was sitting up against the cupboards. So there's another. So we're going to have to keep track of all these lies. I'll have to go. I'm going to have to rewatch our live stream because we're up to at least 6 now, easily, right, Marie and Annette and Deidre? Deidre.
Well, something else too. So on the blood patterns on the floor, there's that one puddle, and then there's drops. So if she's laying on the ground, those drops would have been smeared by her body. The drops would have come first, then her body, and those drops would have been smeared. But they're perfect drops.
Right. True. So DB says, was Ellen a DV victim? Was this a one-time attack gone very bad? Sorry, I don't know about this case. We believe so. In fact, I've been saying this from day one when I first found out about this case. And then especially since we had Ellen on one of our first live streams where we talked about it, Amber and I, in as much detail as we had at the time, that we believed that she was definitely a victim of ongoing domestic violence. And then what we just showed in the autopsy is that she had these varying degrees of bruises on her wrists, on her hips, on her body that were healing in varying degrees. That the medical examiner made that very clear. How they did not count that in as a sign and symptom of her being abused by someone. Like I said in my very first, back in September, when I first introduced our audience to Ellen Greenberg, I said, what did they think she was, like a cheerleading coach? I mean, I had some bruises when I was a cheerleading coach for 20 years, not to this extent. Was she doing gymnastics on her days off? No, because the bruises on her hips would be what you could get if you were doing the uneven parallel bars. I used to do gymnastics as well, and I would get bruises on my hips. No, she wasn't. So again, they completely discounted the signs of domestic violence that the medical examiner even verbalized. And that's what really has me so upset. Oh, sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. Trigger warning again. This is the same, just a little bit better photo that I was showing you guys of all of you guys were talking about the trajectory and the angle of these wounds.
Just no way. Absolutely no way.
No. And even the first picture that they used in the CNN article, you could see her wrist, and I mean the bruise on her wrist is like, I would say 1.5 inches
wrist
large.
And forearm. She had a
So the reason
there
you go. The reason I'm gonna say that it was the C3 injury first is because she has no defensive wounds on her hands. If he would have came at her from the front, she would have had defensive wounds from the knife on her hands.
Right. So I agree with you. I think that was the first wound, was the head wound, and it rendered her unconscious is what I'm thinking, or possibly
that head wound is not the C2, C3. Those are two different injuries.
Oh, that's right. The C2, 3 is the one in the neck, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because my neck injury is C5, 6. So maybe the head wound was first and then the neck wound second. possibly.
Could be.
It's hard to say. I just don't see.
I would say that the neck wound would be first, because if she would have gotten it in the head, she would have wailed around.
Mm-hmm.
That's
I just don't see her ever turning her back on him once this assault happened. So I feel like the assault had to have come from the back first, and then, however that, however he was able to finish it off in the front. I've tried to make sense of this in my mind. Like, if he came at her from the back, would she not have fallen at that point?
No matter what, there is no way the last wound is here when this has already been inflicted.
Right.
To C2, C3. This isn't going to happen after.
And nobody talks about the fact that one of the the deep stabs was through the liver.
Yep.
Now, so according to them, she would have stabbed herself through the liver, meaning bleeding profusely, and then go through her heart. I mean,
if the guy would have came at her from the back, the first thing was the C2, C3. That renders her defenseless.
Yeah.
Could have done the other ones. Then she falls. Then he can do the front ones. And there's nothing. There's no defensive hand. So maybe we should find out if they did a recovery on his phone or on his laptop to figure out if he did.
Write down any questions that you think of, that you have, of anything that we should add to this case file, anything at all that we need to dig in further, find out. I wanted to read this to you. It's hard for you guys to read. It says, a pathologist at the medical examiner's office noted multiple bruising while performing her autopsy. Later, after reviewing the photos, an outside pathologist working with the Greenberg family, and this was years later that they hired this person, also said that these bruises were consisted with repeated beating, which is exactly what I have said from the get-go. This is clear signs of domestic violence. So anyway, this is just a note I put up here to myself. And I'm not going to take the time to read that right now. I'll read that to you next time. So the police investigation, Sam's uncle was a judge. He was allowed to enter the crime scene and remove Ellen's laptop, iPhone, and purse. And 2 suits for her funeral. He was allowed to do this the day after she was found. And they had not cleared the crime scene yet. They had not finished the crime scene, and they allowed him in the apartment.
There was a search warrant.
Yes, and he was allowed to go in unsupervised without a police officer.
Yeah.
And they took all these things. That makes absolutely zero sense. Then that same day, a professional crime scene cleaning company was given permission by the police to clean the apartment. How to make that make sense?
When it wasn't his apartment, it was her apartment.
Correct. Her parents technically should have been in charge. Well, no, but the bottom line is it should have still been considered a crime scene. They have no way to know or prove that she wasn't unalived by someone that broke in or that he did it. They had no way to disprove that at that point in time. We're talking 24 hours after.
Mm-hmm. Not only that, at that point, the
ludicrous.
was saying it was a homicide.
Correct. And the ME on that same day, on the 27th, had already ruled it a homicide. The police knew it had been ruled a homicide. What are they doing? Letting the uncle of the fiance, 82% of women that are murdered, that are unalived, it has happened by someone they know, by either a spouse, a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend, an ex-fiance, or a current fiance.
Hey guys, I'm just going to jump out and I'll be in the chat, but we have, because we had all the snow and everything, we have a well, and our well is currently not covered. So we have to get some things done to keep it warm so we can still have water in the morning.
No worries. Thank you. We're almost at our 2-hour mark anyway, Annette. And so we're going to end up breaking here real quickly. And then we have a lot more to cover and quite a few more videos to cover. So we will definitely resume our conversation on this. I hope you can all come back next week. We should have the judge's ruling by then as well.
Okay.
So
Marie, welcome to
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thank you to the Social Warriors. And Deirdre, you are amazing. I love you. Kat, you are my rock.
Thank you.
I love you all. Good night.
Good night.
Good luck with your well.
Thanks for everything, Annette. Your commentary as a nurse is so helpful, and we really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So yeah, we'll hopefully see you next week, and we'll finish this up. So to give you guys an idea of what is left is basically, I have some videos to show you from some other content creators that I wanted to give a shout out to for following Ellen's case and for being brave enough to talk about it. All of them, by the way, appear to be in agreement with us that this was not an unaliving by herself, that this was an unaliving by someone else. And we will go over the rest of the case file that I put together for you as soon as I know what is happening with the judge. It could be tomorrow. It could be the next day. I'll put it on Twitter X. I'll announce it there. I'll announce it on my Facebook page. I'll send it to the Justice for Ellen Greenberg Facebook page as well, like I did tonight. So you should be able to find it, or otherwise just go to our channel, go to Social Change Warriors on YouTube. And all of our live shows, I always put them up at least 3 to 4 days in advance. Now this one might not go up I'll put this one up as soon as we know what the judge's decision is. So that one might only go up the day before we live about it. But just keep track of us on our own channel, but you can also go on Twitter X and find me there. And then we'll just let you know, because we'd love to have all of you back that were with us live tonight. You had some amazing observations. You had great comments, and I really appreciate it. And Marie, it's so great to meet you. I'm so happy you saw the announcement on our Twitter X page. You have a lot of knowledge about this case, and it helps us to be able to talk this out with others.
With pleasure.
Yes,
thanks for having me
so much.
I want to make one more point about the stuff that was removed from the apartment.
Yes.
Sam's own story that she did this to herself was exactly the reason why that stuff should not have been in her apartment to be taken. A search warrant should have been gotten, and they should have impounded all that stuff that very night. It should never have been there the next day to be taken.
That apartment should have been crime scene taped off. There's no way they're going to solve that case in 24 hours. Again, similar to the Karen Reed, John O'Keefe situation. They did not secure the scene at 34 Fairview. They left it open, and we'll talk about this again Friday night when we do Friday Night Lies. Just for all of you in the chat live with us, we're doing another episode of Friday Night Lies on Friday at 8:00 Eastern. And we're going to be talking about Chris and Julie Albert's testimony. And again, we will be running the Liometer like we did for Katie McLaughlin, where we, by the way, I put up the poll on Twitter X, and I think I had roughly 14 people take the poll, and I'll show you guys that Friday night. It was pretty split between evasive and lying. Bye, Marie. See you next time. It was pretty split between evasive and lying. And there was a small percentage that said she told the 100% truth. I'm like, what? Really? Come on. 7% of you? I don't know. I'd like to have a chat with you, because I don't know how in the world you could watch that testimony and think she told 100% of the truth. I was surprised to see
Better
that.
hope she did to the feds.
Exactly. So anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us tonight. Ellen's family appreciates this so much. I appreciate it. Amber, Annette, Deirdre, we all appreciate it. And we're hoping that we're going to get justice at some point for Ellen Greenberg. She deserves it. Her family deserves it. And we'll be back tomorrow night with our regular Thursday Calling Out Corruption. We will be meeting Sarah Ebersol's sister, Michelle, again. Thank you, Deirdre. I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll be meeting Sarah Ebersol's sister, Michelle, again, and we will be meeting with Kara Veach again. They're both going to give you updates on what's going on with their loved ones' cases. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to be involved with them personally here on the ground. They are both one lives about 40 minutes from me and the other one lives about an hour and a half from me. So that's something that I'm not able to do with our other cases. So it's really very beneficial to me, and it's very rewarding. And I'm grateful and honored to have this privilege to work with these families. And thank you for supporting us in all of our cases. So we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 Eastern. And then Friday night, we'll be back to do our case review of the witnesses that we believe lied on the stand in the Karen Reed trial, the death of John O'Keefe, justice for John O'Keefe. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you. Stay safe out there. Stay warm if you're in any of the snow states, which now include the entire South. So I'll try to stay warm here if I can. And an update again on the grand puppy. He has not encountered the possum again. So the possum is still out there. I saw him in the tree the other night, alive and well after the playful time that the grand puppy Zeus had with the possum. He's alive and well and doing okay. Thanks to all of you that messaged me and asked me for a Zeus to possum update. So that's that. So thank you to everyone. And we will see you soon tomorrow night. Just us, Social Change Warriors. Good night.